what I want to talk about today is actually about charities, about nonprofits, how we do things right, most importantly, how we do things wrong. And one of the reasons I did this in the first place is that after the Haitian earthquake in 2010, the nonprofit that I work for and myself went down there to actually do some research about what we thought was the right way to do things. It turns out that what we thought was right was not wrong, wasn't right, but a lot of things that we saw down there were very wrong indeed. And it cost people that we knew, people that we had met, not only their livelihoods, but also their lives as well. And that's a major problem for us. So I actually came to Georgia State to finish my PhD here to learn how to make sure that we use a better system. And through that research, I found 3 things. And I wish I had more time, but TED Talks are only about 15 to 18 minutes. I could talk about this for hours and bore you all to tears. But I'm not going to do that. 3 things instead. 1, good intentions can lead to unintended consequences. Usually those unintended consequences are negative. 2, when you donate to a nonprofit, try to donate money or cash or what they're asking for. Sometimes what you give makes the problem worse as well. And 3, and the most important one for us, is to reverse the paradigm. Instead of actually handing out things and asking the community what their needs are, how about we actually ask the community what their needs are and then design the intervention around that instead? And most NGOs don't do that. So point 1, good intentions lead to unintended consequences. After the Haitian earthquake, the United States military actually went ahead and sent tons and tons of rice to Haiti, a great deal of rice, right after the earthquake. In fact, the U.S. military locked down Toussaint-Louverture Airport to make sure that they could actually figure out who was going to be able to land, who was going to be able to take off, and the U.S. Marines helped to distribute rice. So millions of free tons of rice were distributed. Great, right? No. No. See, the reason is that Haiti actually already has its own rice-growing places, a large local rice-growing industry. And for those of you, actually I'll ask this because some of you guys are undergrads, how many of you guys have actually taken basic economics, micro or macro? Some hands went up. Most of you, actually. So when you introduce a product that is free into a market, the price of that product drops. In Haiti, you don't own the land that you usually farm. You're usually sharecroppers. You usually pay to rent that land. You have to sell that rice at market to pay the rent to make sure that you can do that. Unfortunately, when you flood that market with free rice, those people can no longer sell their rice. What happens to them? The landlord comes and knocks on the door. You cannot pay. You get thrown off the land. Where do you go for a job? In Haiti, there's one big city. It's Port-au-Prince. So you go there. The earthquake hit Port-au-Prince. Port-au-Prince has 3.5 million people and a population of 10 million. It's a very, very large city. So when you want a job, that's where you go. Unfortunately, Port-au-Prince is already dealing with the fact that they had an earthquake. A lot of those structures were knocked down. Where these farmers end up? In a tent city. The earthquake didn't hit them, though. The earthquake didn't hit them. And because of what we did, because of our good intentions, we caused people who the earthquake didn't touch at all to lose their land and to lose their home and to lose their livelihood. And I've met some of them. They're pretty annoyed with us. And we didn't know that we did that. We want to hand out food. We want to do the good thing, and there's nothing wrong with doing the good thing. But if you do the good thing wrong, you make things worse. Second example. I'm sure some of you know somebody who's gone on a trip. They've gone to build a house, or they've gone to build a school, or something like that. And they go to country X, and they're swinging the hammer, and they're doing a good thing, right? So I'm going to ask you this question, and I cannot wait to see the answer to this one. How many of you are licensed carpenters? For those of you who are watching this on the internet, there's 0 people holding their hands up. How many people are licensed plumbers? Nobody. How many people are licensed electricians? Nobody. Yet, people like us get on planes and go somewhere to try to build a house when we've never swung a hammer in our entire lives. And we think this is the right thing to do. Spoiler alert, it is not. When you build something somewhere else, 1, you've taken a carpenter's job. You've taken a plumber's job, an electrician's job, an architect's job. I met an architect in a tent city. He literally showed me his drawings of this beautiful 3-story house. No one would hire him because people were coming in to do his work for free, but there's someone with local labor right there who could do that work and get back on his feet again. Yet Westerners were coming in to take those jobs because we're doing the right thing, quote unquote. Secondly, what if by building that house you make things worse? In Haiti, unlike the United States, of course, when you build a house, you own the land that the house is on. In Haiti, you do not. You pay rent on that land. So they might have been living in a small shack for a reason, because then the landlord comes in, and now this beautiful house is there, and he says, well, now you owe me double rent. Well, I can't pay that. Then get out. Congratulations. By building these people a house, you have made them homeless. When we discuss unintended consequences of our actions, we have to think about these things. A lot of people just want to get on and do the good thing, and there's nothing wrong with that noble impulse. But when it's done incorrectly, you can damage lives and literally throw people out of their houses. So think about that. Second point, donate money. Donate money, please donate money. Here's why. 2 reasons. 1, for those of you who do not know, when the Super Bowl happens, there's a company that actually prints 2 sets of T-shirts, okay? There's the winners, and then there are the Atlanta Falcons. And people who follow sports go, yeah. Winning the city and the nation, but we just can't finish, we can't close a deal ever. Ask the Atlanta Braves. And now I'm going to get hate mail, whatever. The point is that when you go to other countries, let me put it this way. The winners get the shirts. Where do you think the loser shirts go? Somewhere else. There's someone wearing a shirt that says the Atlanta Falcons won the Super Bowl. The problem with this is we see those shirts in Haiti all the time. I've seen shirts from everywhere in the United States. Haiti already has people who grow cotton. Haiti already has people who make factories and T-shirts in factories. They already have these things. Again, when you send these free things down there, because you walk by the bin and you go, oh, that's nice, I'm going to go ahead and dump this thing in there, and I've done my good deed, I've done my good part. Well, then you've driven those people out of business. Now they lose their factory job, which might not have been the best job in the world, but believe me, I've talked to a number of patients who basically say, I will definitely take that over working the fields because we can't make any money doing this or anything like that. Again, your good intentions by donating your T-shirts or whatever lead to these unexpected results, bad results. Secondly, Coca-Cola did some wonderful things. Unfortunately, one of the things they did was not the best thing in the world when it came to donating things. You all know Dasani water. They sent pallets and pallets and pallets of Dasani water to Haiti. There's a problem with that. You see, the bottles do not magically refill themselves. So now, to this day, Port-au-Prince has plastic up both sides of the boulevards where people drink it and they throw it out. There's nothing to do with it anymore. You haven't solved the problem, you've actually made it a bit worse. Now, Coke actually did realize their mistake, and they actually have invested in some local water purification techniques and some water purification technologies down there. But the beginning was, if you donate your Dasani, donate your water, whatever, we'll send it down there so these people can have drinks. That short-term idea led to some long-term failures and some long-term issues and problems. So think about it when you're doing these things. Last but not least, let's reverse the paradigm. My nonprofit, Peacebuilding Solutions, actually has a research department. And most of you go, so what? Most NGOs don't. In fact, I can't think of one that really does off the top of my head. Most of them don't have a research department. Why do you need research? Well, maybe if you ask the community what their needs are and you build the intervention around what their needs are, you can not only save donors money, but give the community what they want. In fact, my director of research is actually right there. So if you want to talk about that with her later on, you're welcome to. When it came to what we did down in Haiti, we actually found a tent city that had not been taken care of or had anyone talk to them in 4 years. Earthquake happened in 2010. They hadn't had anyone talk to them since 2011. We asked them what their needs were. They said, well, we need fishing gear. And we said, okay, well, why do you need fishing gear exactly? They said, well, we know how to fish. We're a mile away from the beach. We can walk there. We don't have any way to fish. That's what we need. So you know the old adage, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. But if he doesn't have the nets, if he doesn't have the fishing rods, it doesn't matter, does it? Now we were thinking, because that's what we try to do sometimes, let's go ahead and do some sort of training program to teach them how to fish. If we hadn't asked them that, we'd have wasted thousands of dollars teaching them something they already knew, which happens a great deal. We're going to go down and teach you how to fish. Well, we already know how to do that. So we're going to teach you how to fish. And this happens all the time. So, fine, we asked them that. The next thing is, they said, hey, listen, we want agricultural tools. Well, why do you need agricultural tools? We don't own this land. We're squatting on this land, but we do have land that we can go to and we can work with another community. But they charge us to rent tools from them. If you can allow us to have tools, we can save that money and actually go ahead and buy things that the community needs instead. Again, just by asking, you figured out much more effectively what the community needs. Last but not least, when we went down there and we talked to them, we split them up by gender. In Haiti, relatively patriarchal society, men are usually in charge. When you pull the women aside, all of a sudden all the stories change, and all of a sudden it became very different what the needs of the community were. Instead of, we need water and we need this, they said we need shoes for the kids because they can't go to school without shoes. We need school supplies for the kids because they can't go to school without school supplies. They had the uniforms, by the way, just random side, when it comes to Haiti, when they're going to school, every kid is decked out in a perfect uniform and outfit. It doesn't matter if you walk out of a tent or out of a mansion, you are going to look perfect when you go to school because they take insane amounts of pride in education. That's the one that they figure, and they're right, one of the best ways out of poverty, get an education. So the kids need shoes because you can't go to school without shoes. So the community collected all the shoe sizes of the kids. And then we gave them the money, and they went, and they bought the shoes for the kids. When they came back, they pulled out that list, and each kid got the pair of shoes they asked for in the shoe size that they needed. How can you do better than that? We didn't say that you needed shoes. We didn't even think about it. They told us what they needed, and we were able to give it to them in a more efficient and effective manner than anyone else could have because we just listened to them. So 3 points. Good intentions lead to unintended consequences. When you donate money, unless they specifically ask for something else, and even then sometimes it's not going to be a good idea. Last but not least, think about reversing the paradigm. There's a sign in our office that specifically says, you're probably wrong, and that's all right. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. Mistakes happen all the time. Adults make mistakes. It happens. Learn from them. Move on. And keep your T-shirts. Thank you very much.